What is going on, all Overwatch League fans watching this video? Welcome back to the channel and to a quick news video. And today we've got something interesting to cover as the Houston Outlaws and Piggy have mutually decided to part ways. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on within this community lately, whether it be the alexyOWL social media team posting the Myungbong goodbye post too early, then him freaking out, or then putting him in the victory graphic after you kicked him off the team, or the whole Reiner stuff with him deleting his Twitter after freaking out. There's so much stuff going on, but we're focusing on Piggy today. But at the end of the day, it seems like Piggy was just genuinely not happy being on the Outlaws for the simple fact that he wasn't getting any playtime. Now, for all I know, maybe management's botching something too, but that seems like the general vibe that a lot of people are getting, and for good reason, right? He's essentially the third string tank on the team as of right now, and has not seen much playtime at all this year. If you're Piggy, this kind of felt like a slap in the face, the signing of Doge. Like, I get it. He can play more of like the main tank-like stuff as well as maybe some Junker Queen here and there. But like, wow, that just goes to show that they're really not digging Piggy's skill set. It just doesn't seem very useful with the current outlook of the meta. You're not seeing a lot of Zarya, you're not seeing Diva, you're not seeing Sigma. Piggy's current skill set just is not getting the job done for the Houston Outlaws roster in particular, and their head coach Junkbuck even went as far as to say, yeah, that basically is the case. He made a tweet saying that it's just a very unlucky situation, there's no way for him to grind, there's no ranked in Overwatch 2, and just the current meta and format of the game makes it hard for him to grow and flourish on this specific roster, but he also thinks he'll probably find a different team somewhere else, and that makes sense. And if you're Piggy, that's gotta suck, you know, you really proved yourself last year, you became the heart and soul of this team essentially along with Dante, you're finally playing with Pelican this year as well, one of your closest friends in the league, and boom, you never even get to see stage time. Like, that really sucks, and in a way I can't blame Piggy if this was ultimately his decision. He may not work out in the current Outlaws system, but in general he still is a very skillful player with a high ceiling that might be worth taking a risk on, or I shouldn't even say taking a risk, just signing him, because you know that he can be good. We've seen it before. And Piggy made it known he still wants to find a new team as well. He made an LFT post. He's looking for a new team, and I'm glad, you know? He hasn't been in the league for that long, and I'd love to see him get another chance. The only thing is, I really don't know what team is going to pick him up, if any. For one, we're so late into the season, and a lot of teams may not have the money to acquire his services, but additionally, a lot of teams already have 2 or more tanks, so why would you get him? I mean, as you go down the list of teams in the league, that's just a common theme. They're either a budget team or they have a couple of tanks. Who really could get him right now? Who's in a position? The alexyOWL maybe? Like, technically they only have Kellen on their roster as a tank, so why not? You could definitely let it fly and get Piggy, but that might not be in the cards for them. And the same thing kind of applies to like the Seoul Dynasty. They're also a team that still only has 1 tank, but they're more so in a position of just really being comfortable with Smurf, I think. I think it might not be the worst idea to have Piggy because he's maybe a bit more experienced on like your Zaryas and your Sigmas and your Divas. But again, we really don't know how much we're going to see those heroes for the rest of the year, and we know how much the team loves to play around Smurf. He's their guy, so I just don't know. Piggy does not have a lot of options, so in my honest opinion, this is going to be a we'll wait and see type of deal. I don't think anybody's going to be pouncing on him immediately unless he really goes off in trials for somebody. It is a very unfortunate situation though, and I do feel bad for Piggy. He's a great guy. He works really hard. He's proven himself previously. He could definitely be a star player in this league again, no problem, under the correct system. And also, I feel bad for the Outlaws. I feel bad for Pelican. That's like his good friend that is no longer on the team. That was like the big reason why he came to the Outlaws, because of Piggy, but also everybody in general got along great with him. And with that gone, I genuinely do wonder what's going to happen to like the general vibe of the Outlaws, and what's going to happen to Pelican in specific. Is he going to be upset over this? Will he want to leave the team eventually? Maybe he'll stick it out just because he has played really well this year and the Outlaws are in a good place. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of question marks up in the air, and I would not be surprised if Pelican is off this team by the end of this year. You know what this reminds me a lot of? Back in Season 1, when the Valiant had Soon and Unko. All my old heads will understand this. Basically, Unko got traded at the trade deadline, and Soon ended up sticking with the team for the year, but that was like the one guy he related to. That was his friend. They decided to come to the Valiant together, but because Unko was no longer there, Soon had zero reason to stay by the time the season ended, and he ended ended up piecing out. To me, that's where Pelican is about to be heading. I know he likes Dante and he's good friends with him and everything, but Piggy's his homie. That's who he wants to be with, and he's made it very known on social media that he is very upset. I genuinely do wonder how he is going to play moving forward. What is his mindset going to be like? Will this affect his play, his desire to grind hard? Or is he going to just keep his head down and keep things moving? That's what I want to know. And for the sake of Outlaws fans, I pray for all of you guys that he does not end up going down that road. He's played very well this year. He is your X factor. You need him to play well if you want any sort of chance this year. Some people may be asking, well, how come the Outlaws didn't try and trade Piggy and get something out of him instead of straight up releasing him? Well, usually in these situations, that's exactly what a team will do. They'll shop around big players like this to see what they could get. But ultimately, it's clear that nobody was interested. And I wouldn't be interested too. It's not that Piggy's a terrible player, but why on earth would you waste all of your resources and your money when the league is so uncertain when you could just wait for the Outlaws to release him and then sign him for cheaper potentially and not have to give up any of your resources? And think about it like this. Would you really want to shell out a bunch of money or even players potentially for a guy who hasn't even been playing much? Like, I know I wouldn't. It is not worth the risk at all in this situation. I don't care what the name is. You can simply trial him at a later date for much cheaper, and if he ends up working out, then great. Like, the Outlaws had absolutely zero leverage in this situation whatsoever, and they're not going to benefit at all from losing him. If anything, they could only suffer depending on what happens from the meta from here. Right now, again, it doesn't really seem like off-tanks will be relevant, but you never know what might happen when Blizzard decides to put a balance patch into place, and that's my one thing that concerns me. What if a big-time Zarya meta comes around? What if Sigma becomes really good all of a sudden? What will the Outlaws do then? Are they going to regret their life decisions? I'd say there's a good chance. Now, maybe they do have confidence that Doge and Dante's combined efforts will be enough if one of those metas comes around, but because Piggy's play on some of those characters is so elite, that could be the difference between the Outlaws going somewhat far in the playoffs and them losing after a couple of rounds. Here in the present, this move is not going to affect them, and there's a good chance it will not affect them for the entire year. But never say never, ladies and gentlemen. You never know what might happen. Anything is possible when Blizzard's in charge, you feel me? Hopefully things work out for both sides. I'd like to see the Outlaws continue to thrive, but I'd also like to see Piggy get another chance with some sort of other team. But I guess we'll find out soon enough what happens, and until we get to that day, I'd like to thank all of you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more Overwatch League news content just like this. And until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.